You don't want this right here, do you?
You can put it there. It's fine. I don't care. It's not a sponsor. We're sponsored by coffee cups.
We're sponsored by something you can buy 100 at a time.
At a time, people.
For a great price.
Shirt's popping.
The button's about to pop off, dude.
It's ripping off.
Should have dried this on low heat.
And guess what today is?
What?
No Sock Monday.
Oh, dude, I'm not wearing underwear, man. I got the memo mixed up.
Matching coordinated. Flesh tones. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy Collins, joined once again with my co-host, Mr. Matt Dodge. Today,
howdy.
You feeling lucky?
Oh, I am.
Let's talk about some luck.
Punk.
Yep, that's me, Billy Collins, and this is my channel. A channel filled with interviews, motivation, entertainment, and perhaps a cocktail or two. Guys, this is The Collins Project.
Episode, we thought we'd discuss a little bit about, do we believe in luck? Or is luck just a handicap for skill set?
Can you make your own luck?
Can you make your own luck?
What is luck?
Do you believe in luck?
I don't know.
I mean, are you lucky because you have Allison?
I think it's the other way around. No, yeah, I think for me, a lot of times luck and fortunate are intertwined a little bit, right? So, love that I'm married to Allison, but I did a lot of work in order to be able to attract a girl like Allison, you know? So I believe it was pretty mutually beneficial, but...
Yeah, because when I think of luck, it's almost like a negative tone for me.
More times than not, yeah.
Because I just feel like people are, oh, you're just so lucky.
You just got lucky here.
No, I just worked my ass off to get to where I was.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with luck. It's almost like the overnight success.
Yep.
Oh, he's an overnight success, but it only took him 15 years to get there.
Right.
So I think sometimes we put too much into luck. And we were talking before we, off air, we were talking about other things like coincidence or karma.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe in karma?
No.
I don't either.
Thankfully, I don't. So as a Christian, the Bible's the punishment for sin is death. So if I got what I deserved, it would be death. So thank God, as a believer, that don't get what you deserve all the time.
Yeah, and coincidence, you and I both don't think there's a strong belief in coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what would a coincidence. I use the example. So correlation doesn't always equal causation, right? So I could say, well, isn't it interesting, Billy, that the same time that more kids are eating ice cream cones, shark attacks are on the rise, right? So if you just look at those two things, think they're correlated and that's the cause, okay, well, some sharks must love ice cream, stop eating ice cream, shark attacks go down. The reality is we eat ice cream cones when it's hotter, more people are visiting the beach, swimming, and that's why there's more shark attacks. So those two, they're I guess, interesting observation, but it's not it's not
just
the causation.
Happen to be all at the same time.
Right.
It's not a coincidence that eating ice cream causes shark attacks.
Right. They just happen to happen at the exact same time. You know, so there are weird things like that. Now, I don't know I'm trying to think of someone I would think is lucky. Or what's used most to describe luck? Maybe someone winning a lottery, or...
I think the lottery would be the closest I would say luck, because there's such a high, you're more likely to get struck by lightning than win the lottery.
Right.
And the chances of winning are so slim. I guess if someone did win it, or is it just, being at the right place at the right time, or...
Well, I mean, statistically, you have a chance. It's just a really small chance. So everything we do, we are weighing the costs, right? Is it lucky that I arrived to work without getting in a car accident? I weighed the risk of getting in a car accident versus the risk of not going to work. So we're taking the lesser of two evils, if you will.
And we kind of talked about it also in the bad luck, where people will say, "Oh, I just got bad luck." Well, now you're just
Yeah, so
looking
it's
for bad.
perception is reality a lot of times, right? So if you believed, when you were a baby, an oracle came down and said, I bless that your life is going to be bigger than you can ever, you're going to achieve greatness. Everything you touch, you're going to have the Midas touch, a green thumb, everything you're going to do is going to work out. If that was your belief coming up versus another baby that's like, you're going to have bad luck, you're going to struggle and toil, and you're going to have hard time in relationships, and if you tracked both of their lives, they might have been on similar trajectories, maybe for a while.
Yeah.
But one of them's perception is going to be a lot different. So there's a thing in psychology called confirmation bias, right? Whereas if everyone told me Billy's a jerk, I'm going to find reasons to, and I believe you're a jerk. I'm going to find everything you do that a jerk would do and say, yep, he is. Like, he just proved it.
Just magnifies the negative connotation of a person. It's almost like we're talking about luck and that having that lucky person. In the movies, Forrest Gump.
Just a local idiot.
Local idiot that's just full of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, he, now obviously it's the movies, right?
Yeah.
But I think luck and diligence, or luck and hard work, go hand in hand. Like, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So let's say this video comes out and a very influential person and something sees it, and they see something in you and think like they wish they could have cropped me out of the video, just saw something in you, gave you an opportunity to go and speak in front of 10,000 people. We'll pay you 25 grand, right? You could think, oh man, that's lucky. But not really. Number one, you had to sit and record this video, but also this isn't the first video you did, right?
Yeah.
You're at what, 100 and...
Yeah, 100 and almost 30th.
Yeah, like, so your 131st video was the one you got lucky on? It's like, no, if you rewind the tape and see how much you had to do to get to this point, and did they actually give you an opportunity, or did you earn it from putting yourself out there and doing that stuff? So the harder you work, the luckier you get. It's not going to just, happen. At some point in life, we all have to realize somebody's not going to show up to our front door with a big check that says you won the Mega Million sweepstake, never have to do anything again. Reality is, a lot of times now, if people showed up with that, nobody would answer the door. They think they're getting conned.
Shot, con artists,
you know? So I think a lot of it has to do with perception. I mean, what do you think?
I believe the same thing. And this whole conversation came up because I called you earlier about it. Because at the restaurant or the bar I work at, which is we make really good money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fast pace, very lucrative bartending place. I mean, workplace.
Horrible bathrooms.
Horrible bathrooms. No. The trough. But I got told that I was lucky because I, got the job. I was like, well, I started thinking about it. I was like, it's not really luck.
They didn't pull your name out of a hat.
Yeah, first of all, I'm an excellent bartender, been doing it for 15 years. They needed somebody, and they reached out and got me to come to work. So it's not really luck, it's more like the stars just aligned, and it was just a perfect weave of...
But how long have you been bartending?
15 years.
So 15 years to become a great bartender today, was that luck?
It's just...
Luck would be, Matt, come be a bartender, and I'm like, oh my God, I know how to do all this stuff.
Is fantastic. I've never done this before.
Thank you for seeing that in me. It's not how it...
Yeah.
We tend to look at people where they are in their life, and they're on chapter 20 in their life, and we think, oh, they're so lucky, but look at chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up.
Day one where I didn't know what a shaking tin was.
Right.
I had no clue what the strainer, how to work the strainer. I mean, there's a lot of little nuances that I had no clue day one. Now,
So, I mean, if you interpreted that as, Billy, you're fortunate, which is probably how he was using it in his, you're lucky. Man,
probably
you're so
yeah.
Really, he's envious of what, maybe the position, or maybe he has, obviously if you said, Billy sucks, but he's so lucky to have that job, well, then it's like...
Now it's different.
Yeah, like, forget you, dude. Like, this place is not profitable on accident. They don't just hire anyone. hey, go see if you're good. You know what? We'll keep you around. You really suck, but you might get better. But we think you got a lot of luck with you, so stick around. So there is, you can kind of trick yourself, and it's tough because we all use similar language and we have different meanings for it,
Yeah, I just feel like and the whole luck conversation is that a lot of people substitute the word luck for hard work. They're like, just, oh, well, I was lucky.
Or at least they discount the hard work side of it.
Exactly. And that brings us up, we were talking about money, it's like discounting, actually, I didn't think about it, but this kind of goes together too. We all want money, but we're afraid because it has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
Same thing with success. We're afraid to say, oh, I worked my ass off to get to this point. Oh, I'm just lucky that I'm here.
We all just want to be rich. We don't necessarily, Joe Rogan talked about that in a podcast. He was saying, nobody wants to learn how to fight. Everyone just wants to whoop someone's ass. But no one wants to know how to fight. They don't want to get punched. They just want to whoop someone's ass.
Yeah.
Like, we want that, we want to be the after picture on the before after of the transformation, somebody that's in great shape or the big house or whatever. But
we kind of look like the before and after, don't we?
Before and after what? COVID? Or bath salts? You look great for a guy that
117.
Yeah, but I think that's a lot of it too. It comes down to, and this has happened. It's in movies and all this stuff. Like the businessman is evil or a prophet is evil. It's the rich guy with his foot on the neck of the poor guy. And look, there would be I couldn't hire employees if I didn't have profit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't do anything without revenue and then profit. If I bought an apple for $1 and sold it to you for $1, like
there would be no point.
It's not a real good business, you know. But yeah, I think I talked to you about the concept of there's two ways to look at life. Life is happening to me or life is happening for me, right? I would rather think life is happening for me, right? It's just a different way to interpret how things are going on. It's a more powerful mindset to be in than it's happening to me, which means I have no control or whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I mentioned I was a believer. This is a doctrine that goes back and forth in the church, which is free will and predestination. We were talking off air. You said, do you think some people are just destined for greatness, right? They're destined, like it was just an eventuality. They just had to show up. I don't know. Do you?
I don't think destiny is a kind of a hard one for me because I think we need to create our own destiny. I don't think it's written somewhere like this guy is going to be great. I mean, you have the same mindset as I do. It's like one day I will be great. Now my days are shorter than yours, but I still think that one day I'm going to have something great. Now your definition of great is the way you define it. It's not anyone else's interpretation. But destiny, I guess it's kind of rough for me because I'm destined for greatness if I allow it, and not someone else dictating if I'm great or not. Does that make sense? Well,
that's I read a lot of Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, those guys. They talk about setting goals, and if you're not chasing your goals, you're going to be chasing somebody's goals, right? Yeah. So if you're an employee, the business owner has goals for the business. If you're not set, you're going to be on a course one way or the other. But I think we would be remiss not to admit some people are born with potential, right? Which is kind of stored power.
Yeah, like you brought up before the Shaquille O'Neal.
No one taught him how to be 7 foot.
Right.
He didn't work really hard to be 7 foot and have ridiculous athleticism. So you could say, they won the genetic lottery, right? But, that's why picking your spouse and who you mate with, like you can't pick your parents, but you can pick your your child's
partner, yeah.
parents. So that kind of goes into that. But so I guess luck, I mean, I don't know, because it does kind of cheapen it. But at the same time, I've got a healthy relationship with the word luck. And I've just had things happen in my life that have seemed kind of random, you know, because luck and chance kind of go hand in hand. But great things seem random. And you could chalk it up to just stars just happened to align that day. The only problem with that is you're living your life like waiting for the next time
For the
stars
chance.
to align.
Yeah. Make your own chance. Make your own luck.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think too many times we sit back and we're like, oh, it's
Man,
going to come to me. It's going
Yeah.
to come.
Or when this deal comes through, or waiting on this or that, like you taking the initiative to start your, you know, YouTube channel. Why I think it'll be successful is because the success is not always just measured in views and subscribers. It's who's watching it. You know, it just takes one. The opportunities it'll open up for you. Things that could look like chance. Like, Billy, you have no experience in, I don't know, pick a industry, but you're getting to speak in front of 10,000 people in this industry. That's so lucky. Well, I guess in a way, but at the same time, you put yourself out there and you don't try and limit what could come from it.
Yes, I guess what we're saying is don't cheapen your skill set, don't cheapen your work ethic, don't cheapen your mindset of greatness with the word luck.
Yeah.
I just...
Or look at it as a positive thing, right? So I could say it's lucky I have the two parents that I have, right? It's lucky that both parents stayed together my entire life. We had that stable relationship. Lucky that my siblings, we all get along really, really well. I'm from a great, you know, I was American by birth, Southern by the grace of God. You know, so there are a lot of things that came together really well that I'm not going to pretend didn't make it easier.
For example,
bad luck.
Lucky found me.
Unlucky strike. Yeah, that was an old. But so I would be. I'm not ignorant to that stuff, right? If I was born in poverty 1,000 years ago, anywhere, you know, there's a saying that I'd rather be poor today than the king of France 300 years ago. So there's a lot of things we couldn't choose. But with that being said, it's really potential is just stored energy, you know.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone talks about how he describes success is if this is your potential, this is where you are. Success is how big that gap is, right? How close are you to fulfilling your potential?
Smaller the gap, the more successful.
Yeah, and the reality is the more you shrink that gap between where you could be and where you are, that it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
The vast majority of us do not. We're living quiet lives of desperation. And I think part of it is, you know, think of the stuff that you do really well naturally. Yeah, that's your call it your spiritual gift or your stuff you were born with. You know, the class that you always got an A in without trying, and don't ignore that, right? Because we can tend to cheapen things that come naturally to us,
right?
And think, well, the stuff that I had to work really hard for, that's the only stuff that's valuable. And there's value in working hard, but also, you know, shacked it and say, look, I know I was born to be 7 foot, but I'm gonna be a famous swimmer or something. You know, he saw what he had naturally, combined it with hard work, and look where he's at now.
And look, I would rather monetize non-hard work than hard work, because you and I both work extremely hard in what we do. But if I could just, but I say that, but I don't know if I could actually do that. I think that's kind of like instilled in each of us.
What do you define as hard work? What is considered hard work?
Well, for me, there's a physical and there's a mental hard work.
Yeah.
Like physically, I'm going to go out and bust my ass to make money for the family, for me, for whatever. And then there's the mental hard work, because I'm always working on something new. I'm always wanting to do something, push the envelope, try stuff I've never done. For this channel, like we discussed, you know, there's certain things I want to do on the channel here where we have skits and we talk personal stuff like you and I are talking, or, doing mixology stuff. So I'm always thinking, always turning the wheel in the head.
ADHD.
Yeah, I need drugs.
Yeah, which is turns out in entrepreneurs that's huge. ADHD, the shiny object syndrome. But hard work is relative. Now, for just about everybody, being a ditch digger is hard work.
Yeah.
Right. But just take, I don't know, any example. Steve Jobs, right? Was it hard, to us? It was hard work for him to think of that. Not for him. I mean, he's famous for talking about, find something you're passionate about, because this is way too damn hard to do it if you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you don't get fulfillment out of it, this someone could look at this and we got lights everywhere, we got a background, and we had to carve out time to do this. People could say, man, that's hard work, but it's really not.
Yeah.
Enjoy this
because
enough.
we find joy in doing this. I mean, it's fun to get on.
When you can find something that you couldn't not do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Larry Winget, another speaker, talks about how much he has to travel, and he hates going to airports, hates traveling, hates doing this stuff. And he said, that's my job, that's hard. But he's like, my passion is being on stage.
Yeah.
Right, being in front of crowds. And that's such a minute
that's so true.
Percentage of the time. Think bodybuilders. I did bodybuilding shows, dieted for 12 weeks to get on stage for 30 seconds. Think how lopsided that payoff is.
Like when I would do shows and I would set up for shows, it's miserable to haul stuff in and set it up and go over your sets and get your marks on the stage, get your play sets in order, get everything. And it's like, it's so miserable.
But it's worth it.
But when you see that person's face on stage, like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And the only thing worse,
it all goes away.
Only thing worse than doing that work on the front end is not doing it and then kicking yourself like, God, if I would have just...
the regret.
If I didn't actually cut that 10-year-old girl in half, or like if I did something...
Like I said, the dirtiest words, what if?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's...
Yeah, I mean, so that's a lot of success, is figuring out what you're really, really good at. Because there's going to be crap in every single job. There's no perfect job, no perfect career. There's always fires to put out. But you've got to find that thing that you enjoy doing enough where this overshadows, like this is just necessary evil, I got to do it. And if you're successful enough, you can delegate that stuff out. But what did Abraham Lincoln say? Give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. A lot of life is sharpening that axe and then going after it. So I could, as a performer, I mean, how long was your show? An hour?
Hour, yeah.
And that
45 to an hour.
The culmination of how many years it took to perfect the tricks, let alone the amount of work to finding a place to do the show,
and, the booking,
marketing it, all the crap that just like, I just want to do magic.
There's been so many times where I just said to myself, I wish I could just walk in, go on, do my set, walk out, and leave. Because even when I was doing it with other magicians, it would be, I would stay there early, or I'd get there early, stay late, set up everything, break everything down. And it was like constant work, but it was all worth it.
Yeah.
It was all worth it for that 45 minutes that I was on stage.
So you found your thing, like, okay, because you're going to have to do all that crap anyways for whatever you're doing. You might as well do it for something that you actually enjoy the payoff. There's got to be a payoff. And it's got to be more than just, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money. I mean, that is a result, right? Yeah. It's a result of being great.
A good result.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you look at what we do, it's like, I mean, we text all day, every day, about ideas, things to look at, backgrounds, backdrops, gear, and stuff to do what we're doing now for the 30 minutes that we're on here, but it's worth it. It's even if you don't get value out of this, it feels good for us to get on here and
100%.
do the content.
It's like therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
And if it happens to help somebody out, or hey, I disagree, or hey, look at it this way, or whatever, it is really therapeutic. I can't tell you how many literal books I've written on my computer just in a Word document. You know what I mean? So it's like, I enjoy that process enough. Now I got to release that.
Yeah.
But you got to find something you enjoy the quote unquote hard work of it. For stage-hands or whatever, think Metallica, right? They have the people
Roadies.
that follow them, the roadies. You ask them, they're like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine doing what they do. You know, they get up there in front, they have to perform, they've got to sing, they got to remember all this. All I got to do is carry these 1,000-pound speakers or whatever. And
then James Hetfield said they're, from Metallica, that's too heavy for me to carry.
Yeah, absolutely, because so that's another benefit. When you find what you're great at, right, you surround yourself with people that are great at what you're not great at, right? You want to surround yourself with compliments. And, for you talking about wanting to set up the show, I don't know if that's something you could ever like walk away from. Or it would take a while for someone to gain that trust. Like, everyone's the spot's gonna be there when the time comes.
Because I am very much so a perfectionist in that.
What are you perfect at?
Nothing. But I try to.
That's a good one when anyone says that, guys.
But I try to be, I got to have hands-on for that. So, yeah, it would be very hard for me to just allow someone, to go set up my stuff. I'll show up and perform.
Yeah, so, it takes, you got to trust it. But if you keep that mindset forever, you're always going to be limited to what you can do.
Yeah.
Because, look, your time is better spent, coming up with witty things to say, or what if we do this trick first and then that trick, and then we'll bring someone on, and that's the valuable stuff, right? So a lot of life is separating between what is the highly paid stuff and what is the manual labor, $10 an hour work.
Yeah.
Right? All that stuff has to get done, but I think in each of us, Tony Robbins wrote a book, Awaken the Giant Within. I think everyone has that potential. Everyone has the potential to maximize their own ability, right? Now, no matter how hard I work, I'm not going to be 7 feet tall, right? I could be the best post moves ever, not going to play in the NFL, right? So it takes some self-awareness, but we'll have to do another video on that. But we were talking off air, like, what in your life right now are you what would be considered an after picture for somebody else?
Yeah.
Right? So for you as a magician, if I was just starting out, I would think, God, if I could just get to Billy's level, that he's my after picture, right? You're already there, right? So I think everyone has some kind of after picture, or they have something that they could become that after picture a lot quicker.
Yeah, I like, you strive for it. Like, sometimes I'll look at Rogan and I'm like, I wish I was there. Or
he's been at it for a long time.
And and he's good at it. And then I look at other people that I enjoy watching, like Andy Frisella, who's been doing it forever. And I'm like, I just want to be there, and I just want to be there right now. But due diligence, you have to do your time.
You got to build. You can't build a house without the foundation. Just go search old clips of Rogan. Right, he was everywhere. Stand up. He was doing all that stuff. Or when you're starting out, you're doing a lot of crap that just doesn't seem to make sense. Like, how is this all going to fit? But hey, just keep moving, keep doing. Say yes to everything. Keep doing something, and it will start to materialize.
I think, like, when you talk about Rogan, like that, he had the TV show, he had the sitcom, he had Fear Factor, he had stand-up.
He was a competitive kickboxer.
Yeah,
he's always doing something.
That's UFC, yeah. And then now, it's like he's found his niche and his show. Jack of all trades, master of none. He's dabbled in each one, and he brings it to a show.
Well, he capitalizes. He's mastered what's important, which is conversation.
Yes.
Right. Who is Larry King? Right. What has Larry King done himself other than master conversation? And he's one of the biggest names ever.
Howard Stern, love him or hate him, he's probably the best interviewer of all time.
One thing Rogan did that I think a lot of people missed, there's an old video on YouTube. It's him and Tom Green. And Tom Green was talking about kind of like internet radio or internet shows. You'll have to find it. And you can see the light bulb went off in Rogan's head. He's like, huh, because Tom Green was kind of at the forefront of all this stuff.
He was.
And Rogan was like, huh.
Because I remember people making fun of Tom Green because he had the show on MTV and then he switched to the internet and they're like, oh, you'll never, now look.
Yeah. And
so, I'm sorry, you saw the light.
So Rogan saw that and thought, huh, so he saw an opportunity and was like this, he basically could almost envision, you become like you can read the future, and you could tell in that moment, he's like, interesting. And he was asking questions like, because he was picturing himself doing that.
Doing it, yeah.
And then he just started doing it. You know, he had faith. So did he get lucky? I mean, I don't think it didn't take a fortune teller to tell you the internet was only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But he was kind of the first to the table. He just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it.
What's that called when you're first,
like early adopter.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And he capitalized on that greatly.
Absolutely. And just kept at it and enjoyed it. You know, forget where I read this. It might have been in a book, 20,000 Days and Counting. If you haven't read it, read it. It's an amazing book. But I think in there it said, we're all searching for our purpose. Right? We're all searching. Why did I win the battle between all of the other little tadpoles to become born in the first place? Why was I born when I was? So we're all searching for our purpose. But the reality is the search is our purpose. Right?
Yeah.
The search, what we're doing now, and it's never ending. It's super exciting. So when you take off the pressure of having to make it to the perfect destination, look, thank God I can't foresee, like, paint out what I want the destination to be, because I would guarantee I would undershoot it, right? It's going to be so much better than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
So that comes back to luck. Do you think life's happening to you or happening for you? I'm not saying there's any science to prove you're going to succeed more if you think it's happening for you, but it's going to be a hell of a lot funner ride.
I think so.
You know, I've told you before, life a lot of times it's like having a GPS that's searching for a signal. You're like, shoot, come on, man, like find the road.
Getting to the highest treetop.
And then eventually it finds it and you're like, oh, okay, I'm on that path. You know, but for a while you just got to keep driving.
Yeah, it's like the channel. We're kind of like, we're not navigational, trying to find the right formula.
Yeah, and it's really got to be the right formula for us, right? Maybe if you blow up for some controversial statement that you're not particularly proud of. We talked about this becoming intentionally famous, you know, then you're not going to keep it up, right? You're not with integrity. You're not going to. So I'll do it as long as it's fun and enjoyable and it doesn't feel like work. As soon as it does, that just means this isn't a big enough payoff for all the other crap.
Yeah. So you need to switch or be done.
Yeah, or just see why is it not fun, you know. But this is something we do all the time anyways. That's how much podcasts are.
Well, that's kind of what because we said, like you said, we sit and talk, like, why are we not filming?
Why don't we talk each other off the ledge in front of a camera?
Just turn on the camera and press play or press record.
How do you think there are ways to make yourself more lucky?
I think the ways to make myself lucky would be to be a little smarter in my choices, to be a little less angry in my decisions, and to...
In your decisions or at your decisions?
In my decisions. Sorry,
okay.
I'm kind of nasally right now.
No, but I mean, like, while you're making it or after the fact?
Be rational about your decisions and don't do things by... Because I'm very... I can be driven by anger sometimes. And this anger will cloud judgment, and it's a bad place to be.
Somewhat, but anger's an emotion just like...
And it's a good motivator. I'm not saying it's not, but...
You can use it, yeah. I think it's a strength for you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I can be so laid back that nothing really... It takes a lot to tick me off. So, I mean, as long as you can harness that.
Yeah, so actually making your own luck. I guess the third thing would be is for me to remain humble, because I have a tendency I can become an egomaniac sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's fine to be that way, but sometimes I have to draw myself back and reel it in.
Yeah, or surround yourself with people that are above you. You know, if you're the smartest in the room, you should be egomaniac and scared.
And that's what we had a conversation before about that. That's why I have you, and hopefully that's why you have me.
So you can be the smartest in the room.
No, because sometimes I do need someone to reel me back in. And that's why when it comes to the clothing line, I have Tommy, who sometimes he'll be like, okay, let's just one shirt at a time. You don't need to do. Yeah. We're not going to do hats, shirts, boats, cars, watches,
tattoos.
Because I'm like, oh my God, we could blow this up. I mean, I was like looking at watches to make my own watch brand with the.
Well, you were seeing the brands you like, and you're like, yeah, let's just go right to that.
Yeah, let's go.
Like Under Armour now. Under Armour started with an undershirt.
Yeah.
For I don't know how many years, that's all they had. And then once that took off, then, man.
And it's like, for me, I see unlimited possibilities. And for Tommy's sake, he's like, okay, look, because he does all the printing and all the artwork and stuff. He's like, okay, one step at a time. I got a business to run.
Yeah,
so,
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, so those are the type of things that I think I can make my own luck with. What about you, Amir?
Yeah, I think the same. I think number one, putting yourself out there, not hiding your superpowers, if you will. Like I can't tell you how many people I talk to that they're surprised when they find out I can write or I can do other stuff, and surprised in a sense, maybe because I never brought it up, but they're surprised because I haven't put it out there, right? Yeah. I'm holding it as a secret, So I think, and then just getting really good, like hard work and talent combined.
Putting that 10,000 hours in.
For sure. I mean, those 10,000 hours are going to pass either way. So you might as well put them in the subject in school that you got an A in without trying, right? Stop trying to bring that D up to a C. Bring that A up into an A+. Think how much better everyone, and because that's the real world. When you're kids, hey, you had kids. If they had an A, a B, and an F, you're gonna be like, hey, good job on the A, almost got it on the B. That F, all right, we need to hire a tutor. You're gonna stay after in school.
Yeah.
Because we want to get them to get all A's. But the reality is, if you'd have hired that tutor for the A and just explored that, like,
it would have been gangbusters.
It's so counterintuitive, but that's what it takes. Don't shoot to be mediocre when the marketplace only rewards excellence. So I think that will make it more A, right? Shaquille O'Neal became as good as he did because A, he's 7 foot tall and he worked his tail off. He saw the potential and busted his tail till it was done, right? 7 foot wasn't enough to make him, but that was a hell of a good start.
Yeah, very true. Well, guys, Matt, you got anything else to
I think I talked 79.9% of this video.
And thank you for doing that, because I'm like, I've got a cold, so it's kind of like muffled in my head.
They're like, dude, this guy's cocaine kicked in, this guy's Z-Quil kicked in right at the same time.
I'm like, going to sleep.
I'll be lucky when this video ends.
So guys, if you got any value out of this video, please give us a big thumbs up. We really appreciate every single one of you that watch the videos. We work extremely hard on these, and we enjoy doing them for you. And we don't do this by luck. We don't do it. See, I tied it.
Nope,
anyway,
no luck
that was
here.
Absolutely terrible. Guys, do us another big favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Matt, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. And we'll see you on the next video.